so annoyed, and he just grabbed Belle out of my hands. She started screaming. I started bawling my eyes out, and he just gave her vaccinations, and he said, I am so sick of these parents. Today I'm going to do the controversial parenting tag. I did this video a few years ago, but my kids are a little bit older now, and those questions were more towards when they were babies. And so these, I actually saw my friend Lauren from Pink After Blue do this video, and some of her questions were a little bit more towards older kids, and so I'm going to leave her video below plus my old video below in the description box. Please go check those out, and let's get started. My kids are playing in the background, so sorry not sorry if you can hear them. Alright, the first topic is an allowance. We do not do allowance in my family, in my home. We just feel like if you're part of this home, then you have to also help share with the chores and cleaning up after yourself, and you don't get paid for that. Sorry, I don't get paid. You ain't gonna get paid either. Number 2, co-sleeping. I never co-slept with my kids when they were babies. I just didn't feel comfortable. I couldn't sleep very well. I did put them in a bassinet right next to my bed, so when I would breastfeed them, when they would done feed, I would put them to sleep. When they got a little bit too big for that, I would put them in their crib, in their room, and they never were welcome back into my bed. I just feel like my room and my husband's room, that's our private room for us. You can have rule of the house, but not our room. So yeah, that's just the way that I see it. That's just the way it is. I don't want you in my room. Number 3 is electronics. We are extremely strict about electronics. My children do not have any kind of iPad, iPod, little tiny gaming systems, no laptops or computers. That's just, yeah, our main philosophy is that we want our children to be children for as long as possible. And we feel like my kids right now are having a party for their dolls, and they made decorations for it. So like, I would so much rather my kids using their imagination, and they're fighting right now about it. So I would much rather my children putting their time and energy and imagination into things like that than into an app. I just feel like it's such a slippery slope that children get so addicted to electronics, and I don't see the benefits of it. I know that there are some educational things out there, but I just feel like we do a lot of educational things that don't involve electronics, and I feel like my kids are just fine with that. So that's just my personal belief. Julia is 13. Sorry, she is 13, so she was gifted a cell phone for Christmas, not by us, but we did allow her to have it. We felt like at the time she was ready for it, but since then, it is now March, and that phone has been sold. We've been through some stuff in the last few months that have just proven to us that she's not ready, we're not ready, it's just not good, and you know, we're going to go back to our original views of all of our children can have a phone when, one, they can help pay for it and are responsible enough for it and actually need it. This was not necessary. She did not need it. Just with our lifestyle, there's not really a time that she would need a cell phone because we're with her. So number 4 is sleepovers. If you would have asked me this question back when my kids were babies or when I was little, my answer would be totally different. I had a wonderful childhood. I felt like I was very sheltered, and I was never put in situations that now I am aware of. And so since I'm aware of those things, I just don't feel comfortable with sleepovers. I just don't. There's just too many scary things that can happen, and I don't want my kids put in situations like that. And so I'm very strict about who they can have a sleepover with. There's not very many people, and But that's not to say that my kids don't get the opportunity to see their friends or spend time with their friends. We do all kinds of things. We'll go meet up with friends at parks or at playgrounds or at the museum and the zoo. We do have like after school play dates, and we do a play group that we go to, and so my kids get the chance to like have those friendships, bonding time, just without the sleepovers themselves. So, but honestly, I feel like a lot of parents are thinking that way too, and so the opportunities for sleepovers have not really been much lately anyways. My kids haven't really asked about sleepovers. Randomly they'll say something and I'll be like, yeah, sure, but we gotta plan it out and we gotta talk to the parents and figure out the best times, and that never really happens. So I don't know if they get older if that's going to be more of an issue than it is right now, but as of right now we've been kind of just avoiding it. So number 5 is vaccinations. So I'm going to tell you about a time when Julia is my stepdaughter, so I didn't have a lot of say when she was getting her vaccinations, but when I gave birth to Belle, I really dove into the research of vaccinations, and I just had questions. I wasn't against it, I wasn't totally for it, but I was just really concerned and had questions. We have a family history of certain things that would happen after vaccinations, and I was just worried and nervous. I was a first-time mom. Belle was 2 days old, and we went to the doctor for her first checkup, and I had asked a simple question. I honestly don't even remember the question, but it was just a simple question, and the doctor seemed so annoyed, and he just grabbed Belle out of my hands. She started screaming. I started bawling my eyes out, and he just gave her vaccinations, and he said, I am so sick of these parents that think they know better, more than I do about these situations, about these vaccines. And I was just like, I felt so vulnerable, and I hated that feeling. Like, this is looking back, like, it infuriates me. Like, that was my baby, 2-day-old baby. I was so messed up on hormones, and I had a simple question, and you treated me with such disregard, like I was just this stupid mom, and I did not appreciate that. And I will say, we found a new doctor. My children are vaccinated. I totally 100% stand by vaccinations. There is some things that I still have questions about, but I feel safer knowing that my kids are vaccinated against certain diseases and illnesses, and I would much rather choose the vaccination. I just did not appreciate being treated that way, and so I think the doctors need to be a lot more understanding and a lot more concerned about educating parents instead of just being so harsh, and I just felt like it could have gone way better, so I did not appreciate that. Number 6, pools in homes, so like a private pool. So I had a situation where I did a photography thing for a wedding. The very next week, there were twins at that wedding. I was editing their pictures, and I found out the twins had wandered off, and they were found in a pool. And they did not survive, and it was so traumatic for obviously the family involved, but also I was just so upset and so traumatized from it. And it's just my views. I don't think I will ever have a pool in my home. I don't think I'll ever move to a place that has a pool. There's just so many scary things that can happen, and I don't ever want that on my conscience. So I just feel like if you have a pool at your home, like please, please, please take precautions necessary to keep children protected. Mistakes can happen, accidents happen. Nobody ever wanted something like that to happen. But something so simple as a fence could have prevented it. So I just, please, please, please do what you need to do to protect yourself, your children, other people's children, yeah. So, number 8 is tantrums in public. So, honestly, I cannot remember like a crazy tantrum in public. My children are really well behaved, and I'm not going to say that they've never had a tantrum in public because I have put them in timeout. I have yelled at them in public. I'm not afraid to discipline my children in public. But for the most part, I ignore it. I don't want to give them attention for misbehaving or acting ridiculous. So we ignore it. But yeah, I just feel like my kids haven't really, we're not amazing parents, and my children are not amazing kids. They are amazing kids, but they're not angels. But yeah, tantrums in public really hasn't been too big of a thing for us. So, number 9, discipline, more specifically spanking. So we have spanked our children, but honestly it doesn't work. Sometimes all I have to say is the word spanking for some of my kids, and they snap right out of it and they start behaving perfectly fine after that. Other kids I would spank and they would laugh at me, and it would be to the point where I'd be like, okay, if I kept spanking them, I would have to like beat them for them to understand what I'm trying to say, and I'm not going to cross that line. So spanking never worked. We'd have to do other things. We've definitely grounded them. We've definitely put them in timeouts, taken things away, taking privileges away. We've also taken like special occasions away from them. That special fun birthday party you wanted to go to. Guess what? You're not going. We've done that, and it sucks, and it's not easy. It is definitely hard on the parent when you ground a kid, because if your kid is grounded, that means you're grounded. So it kind of sucks a lot. I've had to miss out on things because my kid was not being good. So, but that's part of parenting, and it's just part of it. So I think it's definitely easier to stick with your discipline, because in the end your kid will behave better, instead of going back and your kid just keep doing the thing over and over again. So, okay, number 10 is dealing with picky eaters. So for me and my family, I make dinner, and if you're not going to eat what's for dinner, then you don't get to eat. Sorry. I definitely try to mix it up and include food that they do like here and there, but sometimes, you know what, we're going to offer you this asparagus, and if you don't eat the asparagus, then that's fine, you're not eating.
Mom, I found a pencil.
Awesome.
No, down it.
Well, go put it up.
See?
I know, go put it together. So, I am pretty strict on food, I will say that, mainly because for the longest time we had a very strict budget on groceries, and so whatever I had in the kitchen, that had to last us until the next payday, so I was very strict on it. My kids got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then they would get a snack after school. Very rarely would we do dessert. Typically I would have a dessert if I knew that the dinner that we were having, they would be a little iffy about the dinner. So I would have a dessert, and I would be like, you have to at least try your dinner and then you can have dessert. But that doesn't always happen, so that was kind of rare for them. Number 11 is sports or clubs. So we definitely encourage our children to try different sports and different clubs to find out what they like. I am not very picky on what they try. We don't really have preferences for it. But we do say that if you sign up for something, you have to finish it. Julia has tried everything under the sun, and she's hated everything under the sun, but we've made her finish every season that she signed up for. I don't care if she doesn't like it anymore. She didn't have to do it after that season, but she does have to finish that season, so that's very important for us. We do limit it to about 2 a year, just because we have 4 kids. My husband works a crap ton of hours, and so it's a little hard to juggle it all. So we do limit it to about 2 a year. Number 12, public school, private school, homeschool. So we do all 3 of them. Hazel is public or homeschooled preschool, so we do all kinds of fun stuff here at home just to get her ready for kindergarten. We do letters and numbers and colors and fine motor skills just to get her ready for kindergarten. Kindergarten, where we come from, is it's not mandatory, so the private school does not offer financial aid. So we do the public kindergarten, so that's where Stella's at right now. Next year she will go to the private elementary school where my other 2 children are. We just feel like the private school, especially where we are, just offers so much more in education. We do appreciate the faith education that they get there, and we just feel like it gives them a good foundation of just morals and just in education, and we just feel like it's so much better for them in the long run to have their education where they're at right now. Next year Julia will be in high school, and I've talked about this a lot. The high school that we live in, the district that we live in, the high school is not a good school for a lot of different reasons, and so we looked outside of our district, and she has found a school that she wants to go to that is a public high school. It's out of our district, but we're going to make it work. There are private high schools around us, but they're extremely expensive, and Julia has no interest in going to those. We've asked her, we'll figure it out if that's where you want to go, because we feel at this age, she's at the age now where we feel like she does have a say at where she wants to go to school. I just feel like that's important for her to start making these decisions for herself and her life. And so, so she's interested in going to the public high school that's out of our district. So we're going to make it work and we're going to get her there. So number 13 is hand-me-downs. I don't understand why this is controversial, but that's because I love hand-me-downs. We absolutely do hand-me-downs. I just find it important that my children know the value of respecting what you have, appreciating what you have, and taking care of what you have. So hand-me-downs, I think, is a good way of teaching them that, and I think it's fun. Hazel has some outfits that Julia wore when Julia was her age, and it's just fun for her to like put that on and be like, Julia, this was Julia's, or this was Stella's. Like, it's just fun. Obviously, styles change. Hazel and Stella are total opposite when it comes to personal style, so it's going to be really interesting here when I switch their clothes to spring clothes, which clothes Hazel's picks out of the hand-me-down piles. And honestly, hand-me-downs has saved me more money than anything in the last couple of years, in my last year, in my entire career of motherhood, honestly. I don't really buy a lot of clothes for my kids because hand-me-downs have made their wardrobe way more than they've ever needed. So number 14 is gender roles. I have 4 girls, so but I will say that like my kids are so unique and they're so full of personality that there's no way I could force anything on them. There's things that I like that don't go with the gender roles. I love I built my bench outside and I had so much fun building it. I love painting. I love doing house stuff. I love basketball, and yet I also love makeup, and I love crocheting and doing craft stuff and painting. Well, painting, I guess. Painting like flowers. I love gardening. So like there's so many things that I love that are both gender roles, like stereotypical, not the way it's supposed to, but then there's stuff that I love, and I think my kids all get that too. Each one of them has something that's totally gender specific and totally not gender specific. So we just encourage them to really do what they want to do, what makes them happy, what they're good at, what they like doing. So as you can see, Hazel is extremely into working and doing construction and tools and figuring out puzzles and things like that, and I love that about her. Stella loves My Little Pony and wearing dresses and putting her hair in hair bows, and I love that about her. So I just encourage my kids to be them and find what they love and build on that. I don't think that predicts the future of anything in their future, except that they'll feel confident in what they're good at and what they love and feel confident in themselves, and that's all I care about. So number 15, I'm going to say this a little quiet, is like fairy tales, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy. 100% we believe in those things because I think that just brings the magic of childhood. And my number one goal of being a mom at this stage is I want my kids to have the most magical, amazing, wonderful, happy childhood that they can possibly have. And I think that those things add to it. I know that some parents are worried that when their kid finds out that their kid's going to feel like they were lied to. I just feel like when they find out, then they're at the age where they'll understand that it's not, that they weren't so much lied to. It was just adding to just the fun of childhood. And so I don't have a problem with those things. Thank you guys so much for watching. That concludes the controversial parenting tag part 2. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do not agree with me, if you do agree with me, if you have suggestions on certain things that you think work better for you guys, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'm not here to fight you or battle you or say that my way is better or act all high and mighty, because I know that I make mistakes and I know that I'm doing the best that I can, and I know you are too. We love our kids more than anything, and so the only way that we're going to find out if we did it wrong is when they grow up and, I don't know, something horrible happens and it's because you let them believe in Santa. I hope that that's not the case. So we'll see though. Future will tell. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.